So you landed at Fulbright and Jaworski at a Baylor Law School. Now this is if this feels like an episode of This Is Your Life, well, whatever. And then you
You've done a lot of
co-founded
research. Yeah.
Powers and Frost with James Powers and ran it as a managing partner for over 20 years. What was it like building a litigation boutique firm from scratch as a woman in the 1980s?
Well, I always said to begin with, Jim was my rock star. I kept him in trial all the time, and I tried to figure out how to run a business because, again, I was an English major. I had not taken any business classes. I didn't know anything about business or taxes or any of the things you needed to do, but it was a great opportunity. And you just learned how to do it. I had sat down with a very good friend of my dad's, an elderly gentleman who practiced law in Hugo, Oklahoma. And I told him I had this opportunity and I really didn't know whether I ought to take it or not. And to his dying day, he would laugh and say he knew less about anything than he knew about opening a law firm in Houston. However, I was young, I was healthy. If it didn't work out, I'd find another job. And that was some of the best advice anyone ever gave me because sometimes you just have to close your eyes and jump. And I wanted to learn how to do more than just shuffle papers. So you buckle down and do it.
So you call your sister Gwen, or you called her your consigliere. What was that?
Well, she was also a partner with us. She was our first associate at Powers and Frost, and then our first partner at Powers and Frost. And she managed the firm when Jim and I were in trial. Both of us spent a tremendous amount of time in trial. And even to this day, as I do mediations and some other work, she is the person that assists me with all of that. She's a very competent lawyer. She's very good at things I'm not good at. She's organized. She was a CPA by training. So she's good at the math and business side. I've always told my parents they had one kid who could add and one who could write. I wasn't the one who could add, by the way. But it's always good to have someone you can rely on if you need them. And she has always played that role.
So your book, Power at the Table, became an Amazon bestseller. Had you written anything before that?
I had written some chapters and this and that, but I had never written a book before. Power at the Table was my attempt at developing the sort of business information book that women lawyers need. And when I started doing business development, there really weren't any resources out there. And all those years later, when I got to looking around, there really weren't that many that were targeted at women lawyers. One needs to be able to do business development. It's expected of you if you're a lawyer, unless you're going to be what they call a grinder for all of your life. The law talks about finders, minders, and grinders. Finders are the people who develop business, minders are the ones who manage it, and grinders are the people who actually do the day-to-day work. And unless you want to be a grinder for your whole life, you have to find a way to develop some of your own work. That's also what gives you freedom in the practice of law because it gives you flexibility. But women aren't trained, no one is trained for that. Women are particularly not trained for that. So I took materials that I had developed over the years for training and incorporated those into the book. I thought I was going to wave my hands over that stack of papers and they were magically going to become a book. And let's just say it didn't turn out quite that way.